I've spent over 30 years watching people lose their money at slot machines, and 90% of them are making the same mistakes over and over again. Mistakes that cost them hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars that they didn't need to lose. Today, I'm going to show you the 22 biggest mistakes beginners make at slot machines so you can avoid them and actually give yourself a fighting chance. Number 1, not using your player's card. You walk into the casino, sit down at your favorite slot machine, and start playing. But wait, did you insert your player's card? If you're like thousands of beginners I've seen over my decades in casinos, you probably didn't. And that's costing you serious money. Here's what most people don't realize. Every single spin you make on that machine is worth something to the casino, and they're willing to pay you back for your play, but only if you have that card inserted. I've watched players lose hundreds, even thousands of dollars without ever getting a dime back in rewards. Meanwhile, the person sitting next to them, playing the exact same amount, walks away with free meals, hotel rooms, and cash back. Let me break down what you're missing. Most casinos offer between 0.1 and 0.3% cash back on your total coin in. Now, that might not sound like much, but let me put it in perspective. If you're playing a dollar machine and betting $3 a spin, and you're making about 600 spins in an hour, that's $1,800 in coin in per hour. At just 0.2% cash back, that's $3.60 you're earning every single hour. Play for 4 hours, and you've got over $14 in free money you would have left on the table. But cash back is just the beginning. Those tier credits you earn lead to different levels in the casino's rewards program. Higher tiers mean better perks. I'm talking priority, check-in at hotels, exclusive promotions, birthday bonuses, free play offers sent to your home, and invitations to special events. Some high-tier members get rooms comped automatically or receive thousands of dollars in free play throughout the year. And here's something most beginners never think about. Even if you lose all your money on the slots, those rewards are yours to keep. I've seen players who had a rough day gambling, but walked away with enough points for a free buffet dinner and $50 in free play for next time. Without the card, they would have gotten nothing. The casino doesn't care if you win or lose. They're tracking your play regardless. You might as well get something back for it. Getting a player's card takes about 5 minutes at the casino host desk. They'll ask for your ID, take your photo, and hand you a card. That's it. Some casinos even give you a sign-up bonus just for registering. One more thing. If you're worried about the casino tracking you or getting junk mail, most programs let you opt out of marketing communications. But trust me, the benefits far outweigh any minor annoyance of getting promotional offers. This is the single easiest way to get more value from your gambling, and yet I see people ignore it every single day. Number 2, believing in hot and cold machines. Let me tell you something that's going to change how you look at slot machines forever. That machine that just paid out a jackpot, it's just as likely to hit again on the very next spin. And that machine that hasn't hit in hours, it's not due. It's not getting ready. It's not warming up. This is probably the biggest misconception in all of casino gambling, and it costs players a fortune. I can't tell you how many times I've watched someone jump off a machine right after it hits because they think it won't pay again, or seen players camp out on a machine for hours because it hasn't hit and they're convinced it's due. Both of these people are making the same fundamental mistake. They don't understand how slot machines actually work. Every modern slot machine uses something called a random number generator, or RNG. This is a computer chip that's constantly generating thousands of random numbers every single second, even when nobody's playing. When you hit that spin button, the RNG stops on whatever number it was on at that exact microsecond. That number corresponds to a specific combination of symbols on the reels. The machine doesn't know if it just paid out, doesn't know if it hasn't paid out in days. It doesn't remember anything. Every single spin is completely independent of every other spin. Think of it like flipping a coin. If you flip heads 10 times in a row, what are the odds of getting heads on the next flip? Still 50-50. The coin doesn't remember what happened before. Slot machines work the same way. The odds are the same on every single spin, regardless of what happened on the previous spin, the previous hour, or the previous week. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've seen patterns. You've watched a machine go cold for an hour and then suddenly hit 3 bonuses in 20 minutes. That happens. But it's not because the machine was due. or because it was programmed to pay out in cycles. It's just random variance. It's the same reason you can flip a coin 20 times and get 15 heads and 5 tails. Aber randomness doesn't mean perfect distribution in the short term. Casinos love when players believe in hot and cold machines. It keeps you playing longer, chasing a payout that you think is coming. Or it makes you leave a perfectly good machine because you think it just went cold. The truth is, the machine doesn't care about you, doesn't remember you, and isn't working for or against you. It's just spinning random numbers. Here's what this means for your play. Don't waste time looking for machines that are due to hit. Don't leave a machine just because it paid out. Choose a machine based on what you enjoy playing, what the pay table looks like, and whether it fits your bankroll. The machine's recent history is completely irrelevant to your chances of winning. Number 3, playing without a budget. This one's painful to watch. Someone sits down with $200, loses it in 40 minutes, hits the ATM, pulls out another $200, loses that, and keeps going. Before they know it, they've spent $600 they didn't plan to spend, and they're driving home thinking about how they're going to explain this to their spouse. Setting a budget before you play isn't just good advice. It's the difference between having fun and ruining your week, your month, or worse. And I'm not talking about some vague idea of spending what you can afford. I'm talking about a specific written down number that you decide before you ever walk into that casino. Here's how to do it right. Before you leave home, decide exactly how much money you can afford to lose. Not how much you're taking with you, how much you can lose. That money should be completely separate from your rent, your groceries, your car payment, your savings. It should be entertainment money, the same as if you were going to a concert or taking a weekend trip. Once you've got that number, that's your hard stop. Now, here's the part most people mess up. They set a budget, but they don't stick to it. They lose their budgeted amount, and then they rationalize. I'll just pull out a little more. I'm due to hit. I almost got the bonus. I can win it back. That's not a budget. That's a suggestion. A real budget means when the money's gone, you get up and walk away. No exceptions. Let me give you a practical system that works. Let's say your budget is $300 for the day. Divide that into 3 sessions of $100 each. Play your first session. If you lose it, take a break, get lunch, walk around. Give yourself at least 30 minutes before you start session 2. This does 2 things. First, it slows you down and makes your money last longer. Second, it gives you time to make a clear-headed decision about whether you want to keep playing. Some people prefer a time-based budget. They'll say, I'm going to play for 2 hours, and whatever happens, happens. That works too, as long as you're being honest with yourself about your bet size. If you're betting $5 a spin and making 400 spins an hour, you could burn through $1,000 in an hour if you hit a cold streak. Make sure your bankroll matches your time goal. And here's something that really matters. Don't bring your credit cards or debit cards to the casino floor. Leave them in your hotel room or locked in your car. You only bring the cash you've budgeted. This removes the temptation to chase losses. I've seen too many people destroy themselves financially because they had easy access to more money. One last thing, your budget should include wins too. Decide in advance at what point you'll walk away with a profit. If you're up $100, maybe you pocket $50 and play with the other $50. Or you could set a win goal of doubling your money and then leaving. The specific numbers don't matter as much as having a plan and sticking to it. Number 4, ignoring pay tables. You sit down at a penny slot machine. It looks fun. The theme is entertaining, and you start playing. But did you look at the pay table? Do you even know what symbols pay what? Do you know how the bonus rounds trigger? If you're like most beginners, the answer is no. And that's a mistake that's costing you money and ruining your chances of actually enjoying the game. The pay table is the most important information on any slot machine. It tells you everything you need to know about how the game works, what you can win, and what you need to do to win it. Yet I watch players every single day who never look at it. They just start spinning and hope for the best. Let me tell you why this matters. Not all slot machines are created equal, even if they look similar. 2 penny slot machines sitting right next to each other can have completely different pay tables. One might pay 800 coins for 5 of a kind on the top symbol, while the other pays 1,200. One might trigger free spins with 3 scatter symbols, while the other requires 4. Thus, these differences directly affect how much you can win and how often you'll win it. Here's a real example. There's a popular slot machine called Buffalo. It's in almost every casino in America. But there are different versions of Buffalo, and they don't all pay the same. The original Buffalo pays out at about 94%. Buffalo Gold pays out at about 96%. That 2% difference might not sound like much, but over time, it's the difference between losing $6 per hundred versus losing $4 per hundred. If you're playing for 3 hours and putting through $3,000, that's $60 more in your pocket just from choosing the better version. The pay table also tells you about special features you might not notice just by playing. And some machines have mystery symbols that can transform into matching symbols. Some have multipliers that only apply during certain conditions. Some have progressive jackpots that only trigger if you're betting a certain amount. If you don't read the pay table, you might be playing the game wrong without even knowing it. Here's what to look for when you check a pay table. First, look at the top paying symbols and what they pay for 3, 4, and 5 of a kind. This gives you a sense of how generous the game is. Second, check how the bonus rounds or free spins trigger. Do you need 3 scatters or 4? Do they need to be on specific reels? Third, look at whether there are bet requirements for certain features. Some machines require you to bet a certain amount per line to be eligible for jackpots or bonuses. And fourth, check if there's information about the return to player percentage or RTP. Not all machines display this, but when they do, it's valuable information. Reading a pay table takes about 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes that could save you from wasting money on a machine that doesn't pay well or from missing out on features because you didn't know they existed. Make it a habit. Before you put a single dollar into a machine, hit that pay table button and read through it. Number 5, chasing losses. This is the mistake that turns a bad day into a disaster. You've lost your first $100 faster than you expected. You're frustrated. You feel like the machine owes you something, so you pull out another 100 and start betting bigger, trying to win back what you lost. Within 20 minutes, that's gone too. Now you're in for 200, and the rational part of your brain has left the building. You're chasing. And chasing losses is the fastest way to empty your bank account. I've been around casinos for decades, and I can spot someone who's chasing from across the room. They're playing fast, jabbing at the button, leaning into the machine, and their body language is tense. They're not having fun anymore. They're on a mission to get even, and that mission is going to cost them everything they brought. Here's what happens in your brain when you chase losses. You start thinking about the money you've lost as money you need to get back, rather than money you've spent on entertainment. It shifts from being an acceptable loss to being something that was taken from you unfairly. And your brain doesn't like that. It wants to correct the situation. So you keep playing, often with bigger bets, thinking that one good hit will make everything okay. But here's the reality. The money you've lost is gone. It's not sitting in the machine waiting for you to win it back. The machine doesn't owe you anything. Every spin you make from this point forward is a new bet with the same odds as before. Betting bigger doesn't increase your chances of winning. It just means you'll lose faster if you keep losing, or win bigger if you happen to hit. But the odds haven't changed. Let me give you a scenario. You budgeted $200 for the day. You lose it in the first hour. Now you have a choice. You can accept that loss, leave the casino, and still have a nice rest of your day. Or you can pull out more money and try to get even. If you choose option 2, you're no longer gambling for entertainment. You're gambling to recover losses, and that's a dangerous mental shift. Statistics show that most people who chase losses end up losing even more. There's a reason for that. When you're chasing, you're playing emotionally, not rationally. You're making bigger bets than your bankroll supports. You're playing faster without thinking. You're ignoring warning signs that you should stop, and you're more likely to tap into money you really can't afford to lose. Here's what I tell people. If you lose your budget, leave the casino floor. Go have a meal. Go for a walk. Go check out the shops or watch some entertainment. Give yourself at least an hour away from the machines. If after that hour you still want to play and you have additional entertainment money that you're comfortable losing, then maybe you can go back. But more often than not, that hour break is enough for you to realize that chasing is a bad idea. The hardest part about not chasing losses is accepting that sometimes you just lose. You can do everything right, pick the right machine, manage your bankroll perfectly, and still walk away down. That's gambling. The house has an edge, and sometimes that edge wins. The players who last in this hobby are the ones who can accept a loss, learn from it, and come back another day with a fresh mindset. Number 6, playing maximum bet. Without understanding why, walk into any casino and you'll hear it. You gotta bet max to win the big one. Always play max bet on slots. This advice gets repeated so often that beginners think it's a universal rule. So they sit down at a machine, see that max bet button, and start pressing it without understanding what it actually does. And depending on the machine, they might be throwing money away for no reason. Let me clear this up once and for all. On some machines, betting max is essential. On others, it makes absolutely no difference. And the problem is, most players can't tell which is which. Here's when maximum bet matters. On older mechanical slots and some video slots with progressive jackpots, the top jackpot is only available if you bet the maximum amount. I'm talking about machines where the pay table specifically says that the royal flush or the grand jackpot requires a max bet. If you hit the winning combination without betting max, you get a fraction of what you could have won. I've seen people hit what should have been a $10,000 jackpot and only to win $400 because they weren't betting max. That's heartbreaking, but here's what most people don't know. The majority of modern video slots don't work that way anymore. On most penny and nickel video slots, the pay table scales proportionally with your bet. If you bet 40 cents and hit the top symbol combination, you get a payout based on 40 cents. If you bet $2 and hit the same combination, you get a payout based on $2. It's proportional. Betting max doesn't give you access to anything special. It just means you're risking more money per spin. Let me give you a concrete example. Say you're playing a machine where the top payout is 1,000 times your bet. If you bet 50 cents, that payout is $500. If you bet $2.50, that payout is $2,500. The odds of hitting it are exactly the same either way. You're not more likely to hit it by betting more. You just win more if you do hit it. But you also lose your money 5 times faster. Now, there are some machines where betting max does give you extra features. Some games unlock additional bonus rounds or special symbols only when you reach a certain bet level. Wild Wild West, for instance, has progressive jackpots that require near max bets to be eligible. The pay table will tell you this. That's why reading the pay table matters so much. Here's my advice. Before you hit that max bet button, ask yourself 3 questions. First, does the pay table specifically say that a feature or jackpot requires maximum bet? Second, does betting max fit within your bankroll strategy, or are you going to burn through your money too fast? And third, are you betting max because you understand the game, or because someone told you that's what you're supposed to do? A lot of beginners bet max because they think it improves their odds of winning. It doesn't. The random number generator doesn't care how much you bet. Your odds of hitting any particular combination are the same, whether you bet 20 cents or $5. The only difference is how much you win if you hit and how fast you lose if you don't. I've watched players sit down at a penny slot with a $100 bill, hit max bet at $2.50 a spin, and be out of money in 15 minutes. They didn't have fun. They didn't get to play long enough to trigger a bonus round. They just burned through their money because they thought betting max was required. Meanwhile, someone else sits down at the same machine, bets 40 cents a spin, plays for 2 hours, triggers multiple bonuses, and walks away happy, even if they lost a little money. Your goal should be to make your money last long enough to enjoy yourself and give yourself a reasonable chance at hitting something good. Sometimes that means betting max, but more often it means betting an amount that balances potential payout with playtime. Don't let anyone pressure you into betting more than you're comfortable with. Number 7, not understanding volatility. You've probably heard players talk about loose and tight machines. They'll say one machine is loose because it pays out frequently, or another is tight because it never hits. But what they're really talking about without knowing it is volatility. And not understanding volatility is one of the biggest reasons beginners run out of money faster than they should. Volatility, sometimes called variance, describes how a slot machine pays out over time. Low volatility machines pay out small wins frequently. High volatility machines pay out big wins rarely. Both types can have the same overall return to player percentage, but they feel completely different when you're playing them. Think of it like this. Imagine two machines, both programmed to return 94% over the long term. Machine A is low volatility. You sit down with $100, and over the course of an hour, you might win $25 here, $15 there, $8 on another spin. You're getting frequent small hits that keep your balance from dropping too fast. You might end that hour with $75 left. You had fun, you got lots of action, and even though you lost $25, it felt like you were in the game the whole time. Now take Machine B. It's high volatility. You sit down with the same $100. For 45 minutes, nothing hits. You get a few tiny wins, $3 here, $5 there, but mostly you're just watching your balance drop. You're down to $20 and starting to wonder if this machine is broken. Then boom, you hit a bonus round and win $180. Suddenly you're up $80 and you feel like a genius. That's high volatility. Long, dry spells punctuated by big wins. Neither approach is better or worse. They're just different. But here's the mistake beginners make. They sit down at a high volatility machine with a small bankroll and expect to win frequently. When they don't, they think the machine is rigged or broken, so they leave and try another machine. They never give themselves enough time or money to hit that big payout that the machine is designed to deliver. Or they do the opposite. They sit at a low volatility machine, expecting to hit a massive jackpot. And they get frustrated when all they're getting is a bunch of small wins. They start betting bigger to chase bigger payouts, which defeats the purpose of playing a low volatility game in the first place. Here's how to match volatility to your playing style. If you have a small bankroll and you want your money to last, choose low volatility machines. These are usually simpler games with fewer reels, fewer pay lines, and straightforward bonus features. Classic fruit machines, for instance, tend to be lower volatility. You won't hit a life-changing jackpot, but you'll get enough small wins to keep playing for a while. If you have a bigger bankroll and you're willing to risk longer losing streaks for a shot at a big win, go for high volatility machines. These are often the flashy games with elaborate bonus rounds, stacked wilds, and massive top payouts. Games like Buffalo, Zeus, and most of the progressive jackpot machines fall into this category. Just know that you might go through several $100s before you hit anything significant. Most machines don't advertise their volatility, but you can usually figure it out by looking at the pay table. If the top payout is more than 5,000 times your bet, it's probably high volatility. If the pay table shows a lot of different symbol combinations that pay something, it's probably lower volatility. You can also check online reviews or forums where players discuss specific games. The key is to be honest with yourself about your bankroll and your goals. If you've got $50 and you want to play for an hour, don't sit down at a high volatility machine. You'll be out of money in 10 minutes. Stick with something that pays more frequently, even if the wins are smaller. Save the high volatility games for when you've got more money to risk and you're okay with the possibility of losing it all for a chance at something big. Number 8, drinking too much. While playing the casino gives you free drinks for a reason, they know that alcohol affects your judgment, lowers your inhibitions, and makes you more likely to take risks you wouldn't normally take. And yet, I see beginners knock back 4 or 5 cocktails while playing slots, then wonder why they blew through their entire bankroll in an hour. Let me be clear. I'm not saying don't drink. If you enjoy having a beer or a cocktail while you play, that's perfectly fine. But there's a big difference between having a drink or two over the course of a few hours and getting drunk at the slot machine. One keeps you relaxed and having fun, the other costs you money. Here's what alcohol does to your slot play. First, it makes you play faster. When you're sober, you might take a moment between spins to check your balance, think about your strategy, or decide if you want to keep playing. When you're drunk, you just keep hitting that button over and over. Honest, faster play means more money spent in less time. Second, alcohol makes you bet more than you planned. You sit down with the intention of betting 50 cents a spin, but after a few drinks, that feels boring. So you bump it up to $1, then $1.50. Before you know it, you're betting $3 a spin and your $100 bankroll is gone in 20 minutes. Third, and this is the big one, alcohol kills your ability to stick to your budget and your limits. Sober. You decided that if you lost $100, you'd walk away. Drunk you thinks that rule was stupid and pulls out another 100. And then another. I've seen people who were careful, disciplined players turn into reckless gamblers after too many free drinks. The casinos know all of this. That's why the cocktail waitresses come around so frequently. That's why the drinks are free. They're not being generous. They're making a business decision. The cost of giving you free alcohol is nothing compared to the extra money you'll lose when you're impaired. Here's a real story. I watched a guy sit down at a dollar machine with $300. He ordered a beer, played conservatively, and was up about $50 after an hour. He was having a great time. Then he started ordering doubles. Within 2 hours, he'd gone through his 300, hit the ATM twice for 200 more each time, and stumbled away from the machine down $700. The alcohol didn't just cost him his discipline, it cost him $400 more than he ever intended to spend. Now, I'm not your parent, and I'm not going to tell you not to drink, but I will tell you this. If you're going to drink while you play, set rules for yourself before you start. Limit yourself to 1 drink per hour. Alternate alcoholic drinks with water or soda. Never order a drink when you're already feeling buzzed, and most importantly, if you've had more than 2 drinks, do not go to the ATM. That's when the really bad decisions happen. Some players I know won't drink at all when they're gambling. They want to keep their head clear and make sure they're playing smart. Others will have 1 or 2 drinks over the course of several hours, just enough to relax, but not enough to impair their judgment. Find what works for you, but always err on the side of caution. And here's something else to consider. Casinos are loud, bright, and overwhelming even when you're sober. Add alcohol to that, and it becomes even harder to keep track of time, money, and decisions. You might think you've only been playing for 30 minutes when it's actually been 2 hours. You might think you've only lost $50 when it's actually been 200. Alcohol messes with your perception in ways that always benefit the casino, never you. Number 9, playing games you don't enjoy. This might sound obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people sit down at a slot machine they don't actually like just because they think it's the right machine to play. Maybe someone told them it's loose. Maybe they saw someone else win on it. Maybe it's a popular game that always has a crowd. So they sit there bored out of their mind, just pressing the button and hoping for a win. Here's the thing. You're going to lose money on slots. That's just math. The house has an edge on every single machine. So if you're going to lose money, you might as well have fun doing it. Playing a game you don't enjoy just because you think it has better odds is missing the entire point of gambling as entertainment. Slot machines come in every theme you can imagine. Ancient Egypt, classic fruit, animals, TV shows, movies, fantasy, sports, you name it. Some have simple 3-reel layouts. Others have 5 reels with dozens of pay lines and elaborate bonus features. Some are slow-paced and relaxing. Others are fast and intense. The variety is incredible. So why would you waste your time on a game that doesn't do anything for you? I've seen people sit at video poker machines because someone told them the odds are better, even though they find video poker boring. I've seen people play penny slots they hate because those machines seem to hit bonuses frequently. And I've seen people avoid games they love because they heard those games are tight. All of these people are making the same mistake. They're treating slots like a job instead of like entertainment. Let me give you a different perspective. Say you've budgeted $100 for slots. That $100 is your entertainment budget, the same as if you spent it on a nice dinner or a concert ticket. If you're going to spend that money, spend it doing something you actually enjoy. If you love games with free spin bonuses, play those. If you think Egyptian themes are cool, find an Egyptian-themed slot. If you like simple, old-school games, play 3-reel classics. The difference in return to player percentage between most modern slot machines is only a couple of percentage points. That means, over the long run, you might lose $2 or $3 more per 100 wagered on one machine versus another, but in a single session, that difference is almost meaningless compared to normal variance. You could play the statistically better machine and lose faster just due to bad luck. Or you could play the worst machine and hit a big bonus. Here's what matters more than a couple points of RTP. Are you having fun? Are you entertained by the graphics and sounds? Do you enjoy the bonus features? Does the game hold your attention? If the answer to those questions is yes, you're playing the right machine. Like if the answer is no, move on and find something else. I know a woman who loves the Wizard of Oz slot machine. She knows it's not the best RTP in the casino. She knows there are better games from a mathematical standpoint. But she loves the music, she loves the theme, and she gets excited every time she triggers the bonus. She budgets her money, plays at a comfortable bet level, and walks away happy whether she wins or loses because she enjoyed the experience. That's playing slots the right way. Compare that to someone who sits at a game they think is smart to play, but they're not having fun. They're just watching the reels spin, getting more and more frustrated. Even if they break even or lose less money, they've had a worse experience. They've wasted their time being bored, which defeats the whole purpose of entertainment gambling. Now, I'm not saying ignore the math entirely. If two games are equally fun for you, sure, pick the one with the better RT pay, but don't sacrifice enjoyments for a tiny mathematical edge. The games are designed to entertain you, let them. Number 10, not taking breaks. You've been sitting at the same slot machine for 90 minutes. Your back hurts, your eyes are tired from staring at the screen. You've lost track of how much you've spent. You're not even sure if you're having fun anymore, but you keep pressing that button. Sound familiar? Not taking breaks is one of the most underrated mistakes in slot play, and it costs you in multiple ways. Casinos are designed to keep you in your seat. There are no clocks on the walls. There are no windows to show you whether it's day or night. The lighting is consistent. The sounds are hypnotic. Everything about the environment is engineered to make you forget about time and keep playing. And it works. People sit down for what they think is 20 minutes and look up to find that 2 hours have passed. When you play slots for extended periods without a break, several bad things happen. First, you get mentally fatigued. Your decision-making gets worse. You stop paying attention to your budget. You stop noticing patterns in your play. You start making impulsive decisions like bumping up your bet size or chasing losses. Second, you go into autopilot mode. You're not actively engaged anymore. You're just mindlessly hitting the button, watching the reel spin, not even really processing what's happening. At that point, you're not gambling for entertainment. You're gambling out of momentum. And that's when you lose more money than you intended. Third, and this is important for your health, sitting in one position for hours is terrible for your body. Your circulation slows down. Your muscles get stiff. Your eyes strain from staring at the screen. I've seen people develop serious back problems from spending too much time hunched over slot machines. Here's what I recommend. Set a timer on your phone for every 45 minutes. When it goes off, stand up and walk away from the machine. Get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, walk around the casino for 5 minutes, step outside and get some fresh air. Give your brain and your body a chance to reset. These breaks do something important. They give you perspective. When you're sitting at a machine, lost in the game, it's easy to lose track of reality, but when you step away, even for 5 minutes, you can think more clearly. You can check your budget and see how you're actually doing. You can ask yourself if you're still having fun or if you're just going through the motions. You can make a conscious decision about whether to keep playing or call it a day. I've had plenty of times where I was on a losing streak, stepped away for a break, and realized I wasn't enjoying myself anymore. That break saved me from losing more money trying to turn things around. I've also had times where I was winning, took a break, and came back refreshed and ready to keep playing smart. Number 11, not cashing out winning sessions. You sat down with $100. After an hour of play, you're up to $250. You've more than doubled your money, you're feeling great, and then you keep playing. 30 minutes later, you're back down to $150. An hour after that, you're at $75. By the time you finally walk away, you've lost $25 of your original $100, and that $250 high point feels like a distant memory. This is one of the most frustrating mistakes I see, and it happens constantly. Players hit a nice win, get excited, and then give it all back to the casino. They walk away feeling like losers, even though at one point they were big winners. And the worst part is, it's completely preventable. The problem is psychological. When you're winning, it doesn't feel like real money yet. It feels like house money, like you're playing with their cash instead of yours. So you're more willing to risk it. You think, well, I'm already up, so I might as well keep going and see how much I can win. That mindset is exactly what the casino wants you to have. Let me tell you what that money really is. The moment you win it, it's your money, and not the casino's money, not house money, your money, and you should protect it the same way you'd protect the cash in your wallet. Would you take a $100 bill out of your wallet and feed it into a slot machine without thinking twice? Probably not. So why would you do it with money you just won? Here's a strategy that works. Before you start playing, decide on a cash out point. It could be doubling your money or winning a specific amount or hitting a certain percentage gain. Whatever makes sense for you, but decide it in advance and stick to it. When you hit that point, you cash out at least half of your winnings. You take that ticket to the cage, get paid, and put that money somewhere safe. In your wallet, in your pocket, in your hotel room, safe. Somewhere you won't touch it. Let's say you start with $200 and you decide your cash out point is when you're up $100. You play for a while and you hit that $300 mark. Right then, you cash out and pocket at least $50 to $100 of that profit. Now you've guaranteed yourself a winning session. Even if you lose the rest, you're walking away with more than you came with. Some people use what's called the 50% rule. Whenever they hit a win that doubles their starting bankroll, they immediately cash out half and put it away. So if you start with 100 and get up to 200, you pocket 100 and play with the other 100. Or sure, if you build that second 100 up to 200 again, you pocket another 100. This way, you're constantly locking in profits while still giving yourself room to keep playing if you're on a hot streak. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What if you cash out and then the machine hits a huge jackpot on the very next spin? That's possible. But here's the thing, that huge jackpot was just as likely to hit whether you cashed out or not. The machine doesn't know or care that you just left. And more importantly, for every story about someone who walked away right before a big hit, there are 100 stories about people who kept playing and lost everything. I've seen players turn $100 into $1,000, refuse to cash out, and walk away with nothing. I've seen people hit a $500 bonus, keep play for another 2 hours, and end up down for the day. These aren't rare occurrences. This is the norm for people who don't have a cash-out strategy. Think about why you're gambling in the first place. Most people would say they want to win money and have fun. Well, if you're up a significant amount, you've accomplished the first goal, cash out and protect that win. You can always come back and play another day, but if you give it all back, you've turned a winning session into a losing one. And that's going to eat at you way more than the regret of maybe missing out on additional winnings. Here's the truth. The casino is always going to be there. The machines aren't going anywhere. But your winning session might be a rare opportunity. Treat it like the valuable thing it is. Lock in your profits. Walk away a winner. And enjoy the feeling of beating the house. That feeling is worth way more than the chance of winning even more. Number 12, misunderstanding penny slots. Walk through any modern casino and you'll see rows and rows of penny slot machines. The signs are everywhere. 1-cent slots. Hey, penny video poker. And beginners see those signs and think, great, I can play for hours on just $20. Then they sit down, hit the bet button a few times, and realize their $20 is gone in 10 minutes. What happened? Penny slots are one of the biggest sources of confusion for new players, and casinos know it. The name penny slots is technically accurate, but it's also misleading. Yes, the base denomination is 1 cent, but that's not what you're actually betting per spin. Here's how it really works. A typical penny slot might have 40 or 50 pay lines. That means there are 40 or 50 different ways to win on each spin. Sounds great, right? But here's the catch. You're betting 1 cent per line. So if you're playing all 50 lines, you're betting 50 cents per spin. Not 1 cent, 50 cents. But wait, it gets more complicated. Many penny slots also let you bet multiple credits per line. So you might be betting 1 cent per line, or 2 cents, or 5 cents, or even 10 cents per line. If you're betting 5 cents per line on a 50-line machine, that's $2.50 per spin. On a penny slot, I've watched beginners sit down at what they think is a cheap machine and accidentally bet $5 a spin without realizing it. The casino loves this confusion because penny slots actually have some of the worst return to player percentages in the entire building. Most penny slots return somewhere between 88 and 92%. Compare that to dollar slots, which often return 94 to 96%. You're giving up a bigger edge to the house on penny slots, even though they seem cheaper. Now, I'm not saying avoid penny slots entirely. They can be fun. The graphics are usually good, the bonus features are entertaining, and if you bet conservatively, you can make your money last a reasonable amount of time. But you need to understand what you're really spending. Here's what I recommend. When you sit down at a penny slot, look at the screen carefully before you make your first bet. Most machines will show you the total bet amount somewhere on the display. It might say total bet 50 cents or lines 50, Bet per line 1 cent, total 50 cents. Find that number and make sure you're comfortable with it before you start spinning. If the minimum bet is too high for your bankroll, don't be afraid to adjust it. Most penny slots let you play fewer lines or reduce your bet per line. You might not be eligible for all the features if you're not playing all the lines, so check the pay table. But if playing all 50 lines at $2.50 a spin is going to burn through your money too fast, it's better to play 25 lines at 60 cents a spin and actually enjoy yourself. Here's another thing about penny slots. Because you're playing so many lines, you get a lot of false wins. A false win is when you bet $2 on a spin, you get a winning combination, but it only pays you $1.50. The machine celebrates like you won something. Lights flash, music plays, your win total goes up. But you actually lost 50 cents on that spin. Penny slots are designed to give you these false wins constantly to keep you playing. Pay attention to whether you're actually winning or losing on each spin. Don't let the sounds and lights fool you into thinking you're doing better than you are. Watch your credit balance. If it's going down, you're losing, no matter how many times the machine acts like you won something. Some experienced players avoid penny slots entirely for these reasons. They'd rather play quarter or dollar machines where the bets are higher, but the return percentage is better and the game is more straightforward. Other players love penny slots because of the entertainment value and the fact that bonus rounds can pay really well if you hit them. My advice is this: if you're going to play penny slots, go in with your eyes open. Understand what you're really betting per spin. Manage your bankroll accordingly. Don't get fooled by the name into thinking you're gambling cheaply. And if you find that penny slots are eating through your money too fast, consider moving to a higher denomination machine with better odds. Sometimes betting more per spin on a better game is actually the smarter financial decision. Number 13, playing while tired or emotional. It's 2 a.m. You've been at the casino since 6 p.m. You're exhausted. Your judgment is impaired from fatigue. But you're down a couple $100 and you want to get even before you go to bed, so you keep playing. This is a recipe for disaster. Or maybe you've had a terrible day. You got bad news, you're stressed out, you're angry or sad, and you decide gambling will make you feel better. You sit down at a slot machine trying to escape your emotions. This is also a recipe for disaster. Playing slots when you're tired or emotional is almost as bad as playing drunk. Your decision-making is compromised. Your self-control is weakened. You're more likely to chase losses, bet more than you should, and ignore all the smart strategies you'd normally follow, and the results are predictable. You lose more money than you intended and feel even worse than you did before. Fatigue affects your gambling in specific ways. When you're tired, your brain doesn't process information as well. You might not notice that you've been sitting at a losing machine for an hour. You might forget to check your budget. You might miss obvious signs that you should quit. I've seen exhausted players make bets they didn't mean to make simply because they were too tired to pay attention to what they were doing. Tired players also experience something called decision fatigue. Throughout the day, every choice you make depletes your mental energy. By late at night, after you've made hundreds of decisions, you don't have the mental resources left to make good choices about gambling. You just want to zone out and keep pressing buttons. That's when the casino takes your money. Emotional gambling is even more dangerous. When you're upset, anxious, depressed, or angry, you're not gambling for entertainment. You're gambling to feel something different. You're looking for an escape or a distraction. And that means you're willing to take bigger risks. You're chasing a feeling, not a logical outcome. I knew a player who would hit the casino every time he had a fight with his wife. He'd be angry and frustrated, and he'd sit down at the slots and start betting big. He wasn't trying to win money. He was trying to burn off his anger, and it cost him thousands of dollars before he finally recognized the pattern and stopped. Here's another emotional trap. Let's say you're feeling really good. You got a promotion at work, or you're on vacation, or you just got some good news. You're celebrating, you feel invincible, and you decide to gamble. That positive emotion can be just as dangerous as negative emotion. When you're feeling on top of the world, you underestimate risk. You think luck is on your side. You bet more than you normally would because you feel like you can't lose. The best time to gamble is when you're calm, rested, and clear-headed. When you're neither elated nor depressed, When you're gambling because you've planned to and you're doing it for entertainment, not because you're trying to change how you feel. Here's my rule. If you're tired, go to sleep. The casino will still be there tomorrow. If you're emotional, deal with your emotions first. Go for a walk, call a friend, do something else to process what you're feeling. Don't use gambling as emotional regulation. It doesn't work, and it'll cost you way more than money. Some casinos even have posters up warning about this. They'll say things like, play when you're at your best, or gambling is entertainment, not a solution. They're legally required to promote responsible gambling, but it's actually good advice. Listen to it. I've left casinos many times because I realized I wasn't in the right headspace. Maybe I was too tired, or I was frustrated about something, or I just wasn't feeling it. And every time I've made that decision, I've been glad I did, because I know if I'd stayed and played in that condition, I would have made bad decisions and lost more money. Pay attention to your mental and emotional state. If you're not at your best, walk away. Gambling should be something you do when you're feeling good and thinking clearly. Anything else is just donating money to the casino. Number 14, not knowing when to walk away. After a big win, you just hit a $1,200 jackpot on a 50-cent bet. The machine is making noise, the lights are flashing, people are congratulating you. The slot attendant comes over, processes your payout, and hands you $1,200 bills. You're ecstatic. This is the moment every slot player dreams about, and now you face the most important decision of the day. What do you do next? If you're like most beginners, you stay and keep playing. After all, you're on a hot streak, right? The machine just paid you big. You feel lucky. Why would you leave now? So you take that $1,200, cash a few hundred back in for credits, and keep spinning. 2 hours later, that jackpot win is gone, and you've lost your original bankroll too. And you walk out of the casino having turned a huge win into a net loss. This scenario happens every single day in every casino in America. Players hit a significant jackpot, get excited, and immediately give it all back. It's one of the most painful mistakes in gambling, and it's almost entirely emotional. Here's what you need to understand about big wins. They're rare. If you're playing slots regularly, you might hit a jackpot like this once a year or once every few years. Or maybe never. When it happens, it's a gift. It's the casino giving you money. And your job in that moment is to protect that gift, not to gamble it away trying to win even more. The psychological trap is that a big win makes you feel invincible. You think you figured something out, or that the machine is hot, or that today is your lucky day. None of that is true. You got lucky on one spin. That's it. The machine is not hot. The next spin has the exact same odds as the spin before the jackpot. You haven't changed anything about the game. Here's what I do when I hit a big win, and what I recommend to everyone. The moment you get paid, take at least 75% of that money and put it somewhere you absolutely cannot touch it. If you're at a local casino, take it to your car and lock it in the trunk. If you're at a resort, take it to your hotel room and put it in the safe. If you're with someone you trust, give it to them to hold. Remove the temptation entirely. You can keep 25% to keep playing if you want. That gives you a chance to extend your winning session and maybe even win more, but the bulk of that money is protected. You've guaranteed yourself a winning day. Even if you lose the rest, you're walking out way ahead. Some players are even more conservative. They'll bank 90% and play with 10%. Or they'll cash out completely and call it a day. There's no wrong answer here as long as you're protecting most of that win. The only wrong answer is keeping all $1,200 in play. I know a player who hit a $5,000 jackpot on a dollar machine. Biggest win of his life. He was so excited he could barely contain himself. And you know what he did? He took that money, walked directly to the casino cage, and cashed out. Then he went to his hotel room, put the money in the safe, and didn't gamble another dollar that trip. He went home $5,000 richer. That's discipline. That's smart gambling. Compare that to the countless players I've seen hit 4-figure or 5-figure jackpots and walk away with nothing because they couldn't stop playing. They'll hit $1,500, keep playing, lose it, convince themselves they can win it back, and end up down money for the day. It's heartbreaking to watch. Here's another angle on this. A big jackpot is often several times your normal gambling budget. If you usually play with $200 and you win $1,200, that's 6 times your normal amount. Do you really want to risk 6 gambling sessions worth of money in one sitting? Of course not. Take that win, protect it, and spread it out over multiple trips if you want. But don't blow it all in one session just because you got lucky once. The hardest part is walking away when you're feeling good. I mean, it goes against every instinct. You want to ride the wave, but that's exactly when you need discipline the most. Big wins are how you get ahead in gambling. If you give them all back, you're never going to be a net winner. Protect your wins as aggressively as you manage your losses, and you'll be way better off. Number 15, believing slot myths and superstitions. The woman next to you tells you she never plays a machine near the entrance because those are always tight. The guy across the aisle swears that using your player's card makes you lose more because the casino knows when to shut you down. Your buddy insists that pulling the handle gives you better odds than pressing the button. And someone online told you that slot machines pay out more right after they're refilled with coins. Because every single one of these beliefs is completely false. But in casinos across the country, players make decisions based on myths and superstitions that have no basis in reality. And these false beliefs cost them money and ruin their enjoyment of the game. Let me clear up the most common slot machine myths once and for all. First, the location of the machine doesn't matter. The idea that machines near entrances, or near the buffet, or near the casino cage are looser or tighter is a myth. Modern slot machines are programmed with a return to player percentage that stays the same no matter where the machine is located. The casino might choose to put certain machines in certain locations based on popularity or foot traffic, but the location doesn't change the odds. Second, using your player's card does not make you lose more. This is one of the most persistent myths, and it's completely backwards. Your player's card tracks your play, that's it. It doesn't communicate with the machine to make you lose. It doesn't signal to the casino to tighten up the machine. The random number generator doesn't even know your card is inserted. I've explained this 1,000 times, and people still don't believe me, but it's true. Use your card. Always. Third, how you play the machine doesn't affect your odds. Pulling the handle versus pressing the button makes no difference. Pressing the button hard or soft makes no difference. Talking to the machine doesn't help. Rubbing the screen doesn't help. None of that matters. The outcome is determined by the random number generator at the exact millisecond you initiate the spin. Everything else is just theater. Fourth, there's no such thing as a machine being due for a win or a machine being hot. We covered this earlier, but it's worth repeating because this myth is everywhere. Every spin is independent. The machine has no memory. It doesn't know if it hasn't paid out in an hour or if it just paid out a minute ago. The odds are the same on every single spin. Fifth, machines don't pay out more at certain times of day. Some players believe that slots are looser on weekends or late at night or during slow periods when the casino wants to attract players. Not true. The pay tables and return percentages are programmed into the machine and don't change based on time or day. What might change is how crowded the casino is, which affects how many people are playing, which affects how many jackpots you see. But the odds for any individual player remain constant. Sixth, new machines aren't looser than old machines. Some players think casinos set new machines to pay out more to attract players. While it's possible a casino might choose higher RTP machines for a new bank of slots, there's no universal rule about this. An old machine and a new machine with the same pay table have the same odds. Seventh, machines don't compensate. Some players believe that if a machine just paid a big jackpot, it'll be tight for a while to make up for it. Or if a machine has been losing, it'll loosen up to give back some money. This is not how random number generators work. There is no compensation mechanism. Each spin is random and independent. Why do these myths persist? Because human brains are pattern-seeking machines. We want to believe we can find an edge, a system, a way to predict what will happen next. And when something random happens to line up with one of our beliefs, we remember it and treat it as confirmation. You play a machine near the entrance and lose, and you think, see, I knew entrance machines were tight. But you forget all the times you lost on machines in other locations. The truth is simpler and less exciting. Slot machines are random. They're programmed with a fixed house edge. You can't predict when they'll pay out. You can't control the outcome. All you can do is choose machines you enjoy, manage your bankroll intelligently, and accept that luck will determine whether you win or lose on any given session. Don't waste your mental energy on superstitions. Don't avoid machines because of their location. Don't skip the player's card because of a myth. Don't think you can influence the machine with your behavior. Focus on what actually matters, like finding games with good pay tables, setting a budget, and knowing when to quit. That's how you give yourself the best possible chance at having a fun and potentially profitable gambling experience. Number 16, not understanding. Return to player percentages. You're standing between two slot machines that look almost identical. Same theme, same graphics, similar bonus features, but one has a return to player percentage of 94% and the other has an RTP of 88%. If you don't know what that means or how to find it, you're probably going to pick the wrong machine and lose more money than you should. Return to player percentage, or RTP, is one of the most important numbers in slot gambling. It tells you, over the long run, what percentage of money wagered on a machine gets paid back to players. If a machine has a 94% RTP, that means for every $100 that goes into it, $94 comes back out to players as winnings. The casino keeps the other $6. That's their edge. Now, here's the critical part. The difference between a 94% machine and an 88% machine might not sound like much. It's only 6 percentage points. But over time, that difference is massive. On the 94% machine, the house edge is 6%. On the 88% machine, the house edge is 12%. That's literally double. You're going to lose money twice as fast on the worst machine. Let me put this in real terms. Say you play for 3 hours, betting $2 a spin, making about 500 spins. That's $1,000 in total wagers. On the 94% machine, you'd expect to lose about $60 over time. On the 88% machine, you'd expect to lose $120. That's $60 more out of your pocket for playing the exact same amount of time just because you picked the worst machine. The problem is that most slot machines don't display their RTP clearly. You might find it buried in the help screens or the pay table information, but it's not advertised on the machine itself. Some states require casinos to make this information available, but it's not always easy to find. This means players often have no idea whether they're playing a good machine or a bad one. Here's what you can generally expect. Penny slots typically have the worst RTP, often in the 88 to 92% range. Quarter slots are usually a bit better, maybe 92 to 94%. Dollar slots and higher denominations tend to have the best return, often 94 to 96% or even higher. This is one reason why, if you have the bankroll for it, playing higher denomination machines can actually be smarter than playing penny slots, even though you're betting more per spin. Video poker, by the way, typically has much better RTP than regular slots, sometimes over 99% if you play perfect strategy. But that's a whole different type of game that requires study and skill. We're talking about regular slot machines here, so how do you find machines with better RTP? First, ask the casino. Some casinos will tell you the RTP range for different machines, or at least which banks of machines have better returns. They're not always forthcoming with this information, but it doesn't hurt to ask a slot attendant or casino host. Second, do your research before you go. There are websites and forums where players share information about RTP for specific machines and casinos. If you know you're going to a particular casino, you can look up which games have the best returns. Third, stick to higher denomination machines if your bankroll allows it. A dollar machine almost always has better RTP than a penny machine. Fourth, look for machines that advertise their return percentage. Some machines will actually tell you right on the glass or the screen that they're a 98% game or whatever. If they're advertising it, it's probably better than average. Now, I need to be clear about something. Here, RTP is a long-term theoretical number. It doesn't mean you'll get exactly 94% back on any given session. You might win 300% back, or you might lose everything. The RTP plays out over millions of spins. But over time, if you consistently play machines with better RTP, you'll lose less money than if you play machines with worse RTP. It's that simple. Think of it like this. You're going to lose money gambling on slots. That's a given because of the house edge, but would you rather lose $6 per 100 wagered or $12 per 100 wagered? The choice seems obvious when you frame it that way, yet most players never even think about RTP. They just sit down at whatever machine looks fun or is conveniently located. I'm not saying RTP should be your only consideration. If you hate playing a high RTP machine because you find it boring, don't force yourself to play it just for the math. But if you're choosing between two machines you like equally, pick the one with better RTP. And if you're serious about making your money last longer, make RTP part of your decision-making process every time you play. Number 17, joining slot tournaments without understanding the rules. The casino is advertising a slot tournament. $200 buy-in, first place wins $5,000, 20 places payout. Sounds exciting, right? So you sign up, show up at the tournament time, and realize you have no idea how slot tournaments actually work. You end up finishing near the bottom because you didn't understand the strategy, and you've wasted your entry fee. Slot tournaments can be a lot of fun. And they're one of the few times where you're not playing against the house, you're playing against other players, but they work completely differently from regular slot play. And if you don't understand the rules and strategy, you're going to have a bad time. Here's how most slot tournaments work. Everyone pays the same entry fee. Everyone gets the same number of credits to play with. Usually something like 10,000 or 25,000 credits. Everyone plays for the same amount of time, typically 15 to 30 minutes. And the goal is simple. Whoever has the most credits at the end of the time period wins. The top finishers split the prize pool. The first thing beginners get wrong is that they play slot tournaments like regular slots. They pace themselves. They try to make their credits last. They take their time between spins. This is completely backwards. In a tournament, you want to play as fast as physically possible. You're not trying to conserve your credits. You're trying to get as many spins as possible in the time allowed because more spins means more chances to hit big wins. I've watched tournament players who barely touch their spin button, carefully watching each spin play out, while the experienced players next to them are hammering that button as fast as they can. The slow players finish with maybe 150 spins completed. The fast players get 400 or 500 spins. Who do you think has a better chance of hitting a big payout? Speed matters enormously in slot tournaments. Second, tournament credits aren't real money. If you start with 25,000 credits and you lose it all, so what? You don't lose anything beyond your entry fee, which you already paid. This means you should be aggressive. Bet the maximum allowed every single spin. There's no reason to bet conservatively in a tournament. You're not protecting a bankroll. You're trying to accumulate the most points possible. Third, understand the payout structure before you enter. Some tournaments are top-heavy, meaning first place gets a huge prize, but everyone else gets very little. Other tournaments spread the money around more evenly. This affects your strategy. In a top-heavy tournament, you need to take big risks to have a shot at first place. In a more evenly distributed tournament, playing solid and finishing in the top 20% is a reasonable goal. Fourth, some tournaments allow rebuys. That means if you're doing poorly after your first session, you can pay another entry fee to get another round of credits and another chance to compete. Whether rebuys are worth it depends on the tournament structure and how many other players are rebuying. If half the field is rebuying and you're not, you're at a big disadvantage. But if rebuys cost as much as the initial entry and the prize pool isn't growing much, it might not be worth it. Fifth, watch the leaderboard. Most tournaments display the current standings on a screen. Keep an eye on where you stand. If you're in the lead with 5 minutes left, you know your opponents need to catch you. If you're in 10th place and only the top 5 payout, you know you need to hit something big in the remaining time. This information affects how aggressive you should be. Sixth, your tournament machines are often set differently from regular floor machines. They might have higher volatility or different bonus trigger rates. Don't assume they'll play like the regular version of that game. The tournament version is specifically configured for tournament play. Finally, factor in the cost versus the expected return. If a tournament costs $200 to enter and there are 100 players, that's a $20,000 prize pool. If you have a realistic shot at a top 5 finish based on your skill in the competition, it might be worth entering. But if you're going to finish in the middle of the pack every time, you're just donating money. Be honest about your chances. Slot tournaments can be a blast. The energy is high, everyone's rooting each other on, and there's a social element you don't get from regular slot play, but go in with a strategy. Play fast, bet big, watch the leaderboard, and understand the rules before you commit your money. If you do that, you'll have way more fun and a much better chance of finishing in the money. Number 18, not managing your bankroll per session. You bring $500 to the casino, planning to gamble for 2 days. On the first day, you get caught up in the excitement, play longer than you meant to, and burn through $400. Now you've got $100 left for day 2, and you're either going to have a miserable short session or you're going to hit the ATM and blow your budget completely. This is a bankroll management failure. Managing your bankroll isn't just about having a total budget. It's about dividing that budget intelligently across your gambling sessions so you don't end up in situations where you've got money left but no time left, or time left but no money left. Here's how to do it right. Before your trip, decide how many sessions you want to play. A session might be a morning session, an afternoon session, and an evening session each day. Or it might be 1 session per day, whatever makes sense for your schedule. Then divide your total bankroll by the number of sessions. That's your per session budget. Let's say you've got $600 for a weekend trip. You're planning 3 sessions, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night. That's $200 per session. You take your first $200 on Friday night. If you lose it, you're done for the night. If you win, great. Put the winnings aside and you'll have extra for the next session, but you don't touch Sunday's $200 or Saturday's $200 on Friday night. That money is off limits. This does a few important things. First, it prevents you from front-loading all your gambling into the first day and having nothing left for the rest of your trip. Second, it gives you natural stopping points. When your session bankroll is gone, you stop. You don't need to make an emotional decision about whether to keep playing. The decision is already made. Third, it ensures you get the full experience you planned for. If you wanted 3 gambling sessions, you get 3 gambling sessions, not one long one where you lose everything. Now, within each session, you also need a plan for your bet sizing. A good rule of thumb is that your session bankroll should be at least 50 times your average bet. So if you got $200 for a session, you should be betting no more than $4 per spin. That gives you enough cushion to weather normal losing streaks and still have a chance to hit something good. If you want to bet more per spin, you need a bigger session bankroll. It's that simple. If you want to bet $10 a spin, you should have at least $500 for that session. Otherwise, you're going to bust out too quickly to enjoy yourself. Some players use an even more conservative approach. They divide their session bankroll into smaller chunks, so that $200 session might become 4 $50 mini sessions. After each $50, they take a break and reassess. This slows down their play and makes their money last even longer. Another aspect of session bankroll management is deciding what to do with winnings. Let's say you start a session with $200 and you run it up to $400. Do you keep playing with all $400? Do you pocket the $200 profit and only play with your original stake? Do you pocket half and play with half? There's no single right answer, but you should have a plan before you start winning. Otherwise, you'll make impulsive decisions. Here's what works for a lot of people. When you double your session bankroll, pocket your original stake and play with the winnings. Using the example above, you'd pocket the $200 you started with and play with the $200 in profit. This guarantees you can't lose money on that session. Even if you lose the $200 in winnings, you're breaking even for the session, and you still have your bankroll for future sessions intact. The key to all of this is discipline. It's easy to set up a bankroll management system. It's hard to stick to it when you're in the moment losing and tempted to dip into tomorrow's money. But if you can't stick to your plan, the plan is worthless. Treat your session bankroll limits as absolute rules, not suggestions. One practical tip: physically separate your bankrolls. If you're playing 3 sessions, put each session's money in a different pocket or envelope. When one envelope is empty, you're done with that session. This physical separation makes it harder to accidentally or impulsively break your own rules. Proper bankroll management won't make you win more, but it will make your gambling budget last for the experience you planned, reduce your risk of catastrophic losses, and help you maintain control, even when emotions are running high. That's worth the effort of planning ahead. Number 19, falling for promotional traps. The casino sends you a mailer, free $50 in slot play, free room night, double points on Thursdays. You get excited and make a special trip to take advantage of the offer. But when you get there, you discover the free play has to be played on specific machines with terrible odds, or it expires in 2 hours, or you have to gamble $500 to unlock it. You end up losing way more than the promotion was worth. Casino promotions can be great value if you understand them and use them strategically. However, but they can also be traps designed to get you in the door and gambling more than you normally would. You need to know how to evaluate promotions and avoid the ones that are designed to trick you. Let's start with free play offers. When a casino offers you free slot play, that's money loaded onto your player's card that you can only use on slot machines. It's not cash. You can't cash it out, you have to play through it. And here's the catch. Most free play has wagering requirements. You might get $50 in free play, but you have to cycle $500 through the machines before you can cash out any winnings. Do the math on this. If you're playing machines with a 90% return, you're going to lose about 10% of that $500 in wagering. That's $50. So you got $50 in free play, but you lost $50 meeting the wagering requirement. You break even at best, and that's if you're disciplined enough to stop the moment you meet the requirement. The casino is counting on you not being that disciplined. They're counting on you getting caught up in the gambling, playing past the wagering requirement, and giving back not just the free play, but your own money too. That's how they make money on these promotions, even though they're theoretically giving you free stuff. Some free play offers are better than others. The best ones have no wagering requirements. You get the free play, you play it, and any winnings are yours to keep as cash. These are rare, but they do exist, especially for high-value players or as special one-time offers. These are worth taking advantage of. Another common promotion is bonus points or double points days. The casino will tell you that on certain days, you earn twice as many players' card points for your play. Sounds great, right? But think about what this really means. If you normally earn 1 point per dollar wagered, now you're earning 2 points per dollar. But those points are usually worth about 0.5% to 1% of their value when redeemed. So you're getting an extra 1% back on your play. That's nice, but it's not enough to change your fundamental gambling approach. The trap is when players make special trips or gamble more than they normally would just to take advantage of double points. If you were planning to be at the casino anyway, sure, go on double points day. But don't gamble money you weren't planning to gamble just to earn slightly more points. You're still losing money overall. Loss rebates are another promotion to watch out for. The casino might offer to give you back 10 or 20% of your losses up to a certain amount. This sounds like a great safety net, and it can be if you understand the terms. But usually, the rebate comes as free play, not cash. And it often has wagering requirements, and you might have to lose a substantial amount before the rebate kicks in. Let's say the casino offers 20% back on losses up to $500. You'd have to lose $2,500 to get that $500 rebate. And that $500 comes as free play that you have to wager through. Is that really a good deal? For most players, no. Here's how to evaluate promotions intelligently. First, read all the terms and conditions. Every promotion has fine print. Know what the wagering requirements are, what games count toward the requirements, how long you have to use the promotion, and whether winnings come as cash or free play. Second, calculate the real value. Don't just look at the headline number. Figure out what you realistically expect to get out of it after requirements and restrictions. Third, only take promotions that fit your existing gambling plans. If you were already going to the casino and already planning to spend a certain amount, then a promotion is a bonus. But don't change your plans or spend more just to chase a promotion. Some promotions are genuinely valuable. New player sign-up bonuses, for instance, just can be great if the wagering requirements are reasonable. Birthday bonuses or anniversary bonuses from casinos where you already play regularly are usually worth claiming. Invitation-only promotions for loyalty program members often have better terms than mass-market promotions. But always be skeptical. Casinos don't give away money out of generosity. Every promotion is designed to increase their profits by getting you to gamble more. The best players take advantage of promotions when they make sense, but they never let a promotion dictate their gambling behavior. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you're getting something for nothing. In a casino, there's no such thing. Number 20, not quitting while ahead. We've talked about cashing out big wins, but there's a broader principle here that deserves its own discussion. One of the hardest skills in gambling is knowing when to quit while you're ahead. Not just after a massive jackpot, but after any winning session. And most beginners never learn this skill. They play until they lose, then they wonder why they never seem to walk away a winner. Here's a scenario that happens constantly. You sit down with $100, Within 30 minutes, you're up to 200. That's a great win. You've doubled your money. If you quit right now, you'd have a wonderful story to tell and a $100 profit, but you don't quit. You think, I'm doing so well, why stop now? So you keep playing. 15 minutes later, you're at 175. You've given back some of your winnings, but you're still up. Do you quit now? No. You think you can get back to 200. Then you hit a cold streak. Before you know it, you're back to your starting 100. Now you're breaking even, but you remember when you were up $100. That memory hurts. So you keep playing, trying to get back to where you were. Another 30 minutes pass. Now you're at $50. You've lost half your original bankroll. And you're definitely not quitting now because you're stuck. You want to at least get back to even. This goes on until you either lose everything or hit something that gets you back near even, at which point you quit. Relieved to escape without losing too much. Like you just turned what should have been a winning session into a break-even or losing session. And you did it because you didn't know when to quit while you were ahead. The fundamental problem is that we're psychologically wired to keep playing when we're winning. Winning feels good. It releases dopamine. We want that feeling to continue. And we convince ourselves that because we're winning, now we'll keep winning. But that's not how probability works. Your hot streak will end. It always ends. The question is whether you'll quit before it does. Here's a strategy that successful gamblers use. Before you start playing, set a win goal. It might be winning 50% of your bankroll, or doubling your money, or winning a specific dollar amount. When you hit that goal, you quit. No exceptions. You don't play just one more spin. You don't try to run it up even higher. You take your winnings and leave. This is incredibly hard to do in practice. When you're winning, every fiber of your being wants to keep playing. You feel like you've figured something out, like you're on a roll. Quitting feels like you're walking away from opportunity. But that's exactly when you need discipline the most. Think of it this way. Imagine you went to the casino today and I handed you $100 as you walked in the door. Free money, no strings attached. You'd be thrilled, right? Well, if you sit down with 100 and you're up to 200, that's the exact same thing. The casino just handed you $100. If you give it back, you've essentially thrown away free money. Some players use a time-based approach instead of a profit-based approach. They'll say, I'm going to play for exactly 1 hour and then I'm quitting regardless of where I stand. This works too. It removes the emotional decision-making from the equation. The clock decides when you're done, not your feelings about whether you're winning or losing. Another approach is to set a stop-win point that's higher than your stop-loss point. For example, you might decide you'll quit if you lose $50 or if you win $150, whichever comes first. This is called asymmetric risk management, and it's a smart way to ensure your winning sessions net you more than your losing sessions cost you. The reality is that most of your casino sessions will be losing sessions. That's just math. The house has an edge. But if you can protect your winnings, when you do have a winning session, those wins can offset multiple losing sessions. A player who wins big once and protects it can afford to have several small losing sessions and still be ahead overall. But a player who wins big and gives it all back needs to win big multiple times just to break even. And that's a losing battle. I'll leave you with this. The casino is always going to be there tomorrow. The machines aren't going anywhere. If you quit while you're ahead today, you can come back and play another time. But if you play until you lose, you've got nothing to come back with. Protecting your wins is just as important as managing your losses. Learn to quit while you're ahead, and you'll be way ahead of most gamblers. Number 21, ignoring responsible gambling resources. Let's talk about something that makes people uncomfortable, but is absolutely critical. Gambling addiction is real, it's common, and it destroys lives. And one of the biggest mistakes beginners make is ignoring all the warning signs and resources that could help them before they develop a serious problem. Every casino in America has responsible gambling information posted somewhere. Do you know there are phone numbers for gambling addiction hotlines? There are pamphlets about recognizing problem gambling. There are self-exclusion programs where you can ban yourself from the casino if you can't control your gambling. Most players walk right past all of this without a second glance. They think it doesn't apply to them. They think they're just having fun. And maybe they are, but maybe they're not. Here are the warning signs of problem gambling that you should never ignore. First, gambling with money you can't afford to lose. If you're using rent money, bill money, or money meant for necessities, that's a red flag. Second, chasing losses compulsively. Everyone chases a little bit sometimes, but if you can't stop yourself from trying to win back what you lost, that's a problem. Third, lying to family or friends about your gambling. If you're hiding how much you're gambling or how much you're losing, ask yourself why. Fourth, gambling to escape problems or negative emotions. If you're using gambling as a way to avoid dealing with depression, anxiety, stress, or other issues, that's dangerous. Fifth, spending more time and money gambling than you intended. If you consistently break your own limits, that's a loss of control. Sixth, neglecting work, relationships, or responsibilities because of gambling. If gambling is interfering with the rest of your life, it's become a problem. Seventh, borrowing money or selling possessions to gamble. If you're taking out loans, pawning items, or asking friends and family for money to fund gambling, you're in dangerous territory. And eighth, feeling restless or irritable when you try to cut back on gambling. If the thought of not gambling makes you anxious or upset, that's a sign of addiction. Now, if you're reading this and recognizing yourself in some of these warning signs, don't panic. But don't ignore it either. Gambling addiction, like any addiction, is progressive. It starts small and gets worse over time. The earlier you address it, the easier it is to manage. Here's what you can do. Most states have gambling addiction hotlines that are free and confidential. You can call and talk to someone about your concerns without giving your name. These counselors are trained to help you figure out if you have a problem and what resources are available. The national hotline is 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Put that number in your phone right now. Many casinos also offer self-exclusion programs. You can voluntarily ban yourself from the casino for a set period of time or even permanently. Once you're on the self-exclusion list, the casino won't let you in, won't cash your checks, and won't send you promotional materials. It's a way to protect yourself from your own impulses. There's no shame in using this resource if you need it. There are also support groups like Gamblers Anonymous, which work on the same 12-step model as Alcoholics Anonymous. These groups are free and available in most cities. Talking to other people who understand what you're going through can be incredibly helpful. And if you need professional help, there are therapists and treatment programs that specialize in gambling addiction. Your health insurance might cover this treatment. It's worth checking into if you're struggling. Here's the thing. Nobody wakes up one day and decides to become a gambling addict. It happens gradually. You start gambling for fun, then you're gambling more often. Then you're gambling with more money. Then you're having trouble stopping. Then you're in real trouble. The best time to address this is before you get to that last stage. Even if you don't think you have a problem, it's worth being mindful of your gambling habits. Set limits and stick to them. Take breaks. Don't gamble when you're emotional. Keep gambling as one small part of your life, not the central focus. And if you ever feel like your gambling is getting out of control, reach out for help immediately. Casinos make billions of dollars a year. They're going to be fine whether you gamble or not. But you and your family won't be fine if gambling ruins your finances, your relationships, and your mental health. Take warning signs seriously. Use the resources available. And don't ever feel ashamed about asking for help. Recognizing you have a problem and getting help for it is a sign of strength, not weakness. Number 22, thinking you can beat the slots long-term. Here's the hard truth that some people never accept. You cannot beat slot machines in the long run. You can't develop a system. You can't find a pattern. You can't outsmart the random number generator. The house has a mathematical edge on every single spin, and over time, that edge will grind you down. If you go into slot gambling thinking you're going to make money long-term, you've already made the biggest mistake of all. I've seen players convince themselves they have a winning strategy. They track machines and keep notebooks full of which machines hit and when, develop elaborate betting systems where they increase or decrease their bets based on wins and losses. They spend hours analyzing pay tables and calculating odds. And in the end, they lose money just like everyone else because none of that matters when the game is fundamentally designed for the house to win. Let's do some simple math. Say you're playing a slot machine with a 92% return to player percentage. That means the house edge is 8%. If you wager $10,000 over time, you're going to lose about $800 on average. You might lose more, you might lose less, but that's the expected outcome. There is no betting system, no strategy, no approach that changes this fundamental math. Some people think they can beat the slots by only playing progressive jackpots when they get huge. The logic is that when the jackpot is big enough, it offsets the house edge and gives you a positive expected value. And mathematically, this can be true for some progressive machines. But here's the problem. You might have to play millions of spins before you hit that jackpot. Most players don't have the bankroll to sustain that. They'll go broke long before they hit the big one. Others think they can use betting systems like the martingale, where you double your bet after every loss. Eventually, you'll win and recoup all your losses, right? Wrong. First, slot machines have maximum bet limit, so you can't double forever. Second, you'll hit a long enough losing streak to wipe out your bankroll before the system works. Third, and even if you win, the amount you win doesn't offset the risk you took. Betting systems don't change the house edge. Some players think they have a feeling about certain machines or certain days. They think they can sense when a machine is ready to pay. This is just superstition. Your feelings have no correlation with the random number generator. None whatsoever. The only way to profit from slot machines long-term is to own them, not play them. The casino is the one making money. They're the house. They have the edge, you're the player. You're paying for entertainment. If you can't accept that dynamic, you shouldn't be gambling on slots. Now, does this mean you can never win? Of course not. People win on slots all the time. You can have winning sessions, you can have winning trips. You can even have a winning year if you get really lucky. But over a lifetime of playing, the math will catch up to you. The longer you play, the closer your actual results will come to the expected results, which is losing money equal to the house edge times your total wagering. This is why everything we've talked about in this video matters. Since you can't beat the slots long-term, your goals should be different. You should be trying to maximize your entertainment value per dollar spent. You should be trying to make your money last as long as possible. You should be trying to protect your big wins when they happen. You should be trying to avoid compulsive behavior and addiction. These are all achievable goals that will make your gambling experience better. But if your goal is to make money from slots, you need to change your goal. Because it's not going to happen. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start gambling in a healthier, more enjoyable way. Some of the happiest slot players I know are the ones who treat gambling as pure entertainment. They budget money for it the same way they budget for movies or concerts. They don't expect to win. When they do win, it's a nice bonus. When they lose, it's the expected cost of their entertainment. They're not stressed. They're not chasing. They're just having fun. That's the right mindset. Compare that to players who think they're going to beat the casino. They're constantly frustrated. They feel cheated when they lose. They convince themselves they're just one big win away from getting ahead. They dump more and more money into the machines trying to prove their system works. They're miserable. And they're broke. The house always wins. That's not cynicism, that's just reality. Casinos are billion-dollar businesses because the math is on their side. You can't change the math. You can only change how you respond to it. So enjoy the slots for what they are, exciting, entertaining games with the potential for occasional big wins. Set a budget you can afford to lose. Stick to that budget. Have fun while you play. And when you walk out of the casino, don't measure your success by how much money you won or lost. Measure it by whether you had a good time and stayed in control. If you can do that, you're already ahead of 90% of slot players. And that's the only kind of winning that actually matters.